Following Donald Trump's first summit with North Korean dictator Kim Jong Un, he went on a tour talking about how he has a great relationship with him. In fact, Trump has praised Kim as someone who loves his people and told supporters at a rally last year that the two men, quote, fell in love. Now, Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, was asked about this right before Donald Trump traveled to Vietnam for the second summit with Kim Jong Un. And here are his thoughts on this.
Look, having been the CIA director not too terribly long ago, I'm very familiar with the fact pattern. We do know the history. We know the history of the North Koreans making promises, making commitments, lying, taking American money when President Clinton said, we've got this resolved back in 1994. This administration's not going to do that. We have charted a different path. Frankly, we've been criticized for taking that path, where we work, we negotiate, and then the two people who can actually effectuate the denuclearization of North Korea and a brighter future for the North Korean people will gather for a second time. We have economic sanctions in place. We know the standard for relieving those sanctions, and I'm very hopeful that we'll make a substantial step towards achieving the full denuclearization in a verifiable way in North Korea. The South Koreans, the Japanese have been great partners in this, and we're very hopeful we can get a good outcome.
It's mind-boggling to me that anyone would want to work for Donald Trump, someone who causes explosions and then expects everyone around him to clean up that explosion immediately afterwards. Now, Pompeo, of course, is doing his best trying to cover up Donald Trump's incompetence. But I just want to remind you of that incompetence in a wonderful mashup that J.R. Jackson put together for the show. Take a look.
How long will it take to figure out whether or not they're serious? I said, maybe in the first minute. I think, honestly, I think he's going to do these things.
I think I'm very well prepared. I don't think I have to prepare very much.
How long will it take? I think within the first minute, I'll know. How? Just my touch, my feel. That's what I do.
I think I've been preparing for the summit for a long time.
I also think I'll know whether or not it will happen fast. I may stand before you in 6 months and say, hey, I was wrong. I don't know that I'll ever admit that, but I'll find some kind of an excuse.
During an interview with Fox News, Trump also applauded Kim Jong Un because every time he walks into a room as a dictator, everybody stands up, and he thought that was pretty good. I mean, he has a love affair with Kim Jong Un, who again is a dictator. North Korea is not our ally. Kim Jong Un is not our ally. I'm not saying that we should enter a war with North Korea. That is the #1 thing I'd want to prevent from happening. So I like the diplomatic approach, but Donald Trump is not approaching this with the mindset of, hey, we need to protect our country. We need to look out for national security. We need to do what it takes to get Kim Jong Un, our enemy, to denuclearize so he doesn't pose a threat to us and our allies. But that's not the way he's handling it. He sits down with Kim Jong Un, gives him, or Kim Jong Un gives him a bunch of compliments, and then he goes around talking about, oh, it's my touch, it's my feel. He's gonna follow through with these promises, even though he hasn't followed through with a single one of them.
Unreal. So let's break it down. So some people say, well, oh, you guys don't want him to meet or get an agreement with North Korea? No, don't be stupid. So when Dick Cheney said about Iran, we don't meet with evil, what a stupid thing. But in this case, to be fair to Dick Cheney, because he's not a stupid guy, it's a stupid policy, but he doesn't actually believe it. He just wanted their oil contracts, so he wanted to invade. So that's why he didn't want to meet with them, because they would have given him concessions and he didn't want those concessions. So we don't agree with that kind of ideology, okay, of we don't meet with evil. So for example, Roosevelt worked with Stalin, one of the most evil men who's ever existed. And why? Get a little of this, at the time, he was the lesser of two evils. And we worked together to defeat the Nazis, which was incredibly important. So should we do that? Yes. But did FDR come out and say that he fell in love with Stalin? Did he say, I'll know within the first minute of meeting Stalin whether it's gonna work out or not? No, because of course he's a smart person. No smart person knows what's gonna happen in a complicated negotiation in the first minute, because you actually need to get into the details, and you can't just look at someone or touch them and be like, oh, I know what's gonna happen. I know it's gonna be clause 13, section B2. No, he's a moron. He walks in and Kim Jong Un goes, Mr. President, you have such glowing orange skin, it's beautiful on you. And he's like, I knew it, this guy's awesome. I fell in love with him, I'm in love with him, he's awesome. I don't need anything else, I don't need anything else. Why? Because he's not negotiating on our behalf. He's negotiating on his behalf. He just wants compliments. We have an unbelievable buffoon as president. And let's note the overwhelming, record-shattering hypocrisy of Fox News and all conservatives and all Republicans. If Barack Obama said that he fell in love with Kim Jong Un, they would have started impeachment hearings. Fox News would never, ever stop quoting that. And this Democrat who's soft on dictators, the guy's got gulags and concentration camps, well, which is true, by the way, okay? And he says he fell in love with him. Now Trump says it. They're like, oh yeah, of course, that's what you're supposed to do. Tough conservatives are supposed to fall in love with dictators that are against our interests. Okay, if that's what you believe.
One final part of this that you should know about is Russia's involvement. And I'm not exaggerating this is not a red scare, but according to Russian state media, they revealed comments from Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, in which he said Moscow believes the US should offer security guarantees to Pyongyang in exchange for a deal to abandon its nuclear arsenal. Now, why do I share their thoughts on this? Well, Russian state TV also noted that Donald Trump reached out to the Russians for advice on how to handle this. It's not a good idea. Not a good idea considering some of the accusations against you.
I want you to understand what's normal diplomacy and what's not. If you were to go after you have an agreement and check with
with your allies?
Not just with your allies, but at some point you say to the Russians, hey, here's the deal we struck. We want you to be aware of it so that there's no misunderstandings. That's perfectly normal. Asking them ahead of time, what deal should I do?
It's crazy.
Come on, man. Okay, and then finally, when Chris Wallace asked Mike Pompeo, why did the president say that he fell in love with Kim Jong Un? So good job of Chris Wallace on Fox News. So I'll give him and only him credit on that. He said, oh, well, it's because the relationships matter, et cetera. And then he added this, Pompeo did. I have observed this over the past weeks and months. I watch them exchange messages. I watch their team understand the messages that the two leaders are providing. In other words, nobody has any idea what they're talking about. We're trying to decipher it, but they keep telling each other how much they love each other, but there's no actual negotiation going on. There's no tangible, hey, you will stop this nuclear program or you will stop this missile program. Nothing except you have beautiful orange hair and you are a wonderful dictator who loves your people. And even Pompeo on TV is saying, I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know. We have a fool for a president. If you can't see that, you're blind. On the go, don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.